This week's been bloody appalling for. This week has been an appalling week for compassion and humanity. Just a couple of days ago, we had an estimated 200 migrants drowning in the Mediterranean whilst fleeing from war, persecution, famine, rape, torture, and murder in Libya, Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, just to name but a few countries. And that brings the total of deaths in the Mediterranean just this year to somewhere in the region of 3,000. And someone did say recently that the Mediterranean is actually turning into an open grave. And I don't think that that's an exaggeration. It certainly is an awful situation that's going on there. But it's not just the Mediterranean where refugees and migrants are dying. Don't forget that many of the people who make the journey through to the Mediterranean have travelled through horrendous situations like deserts, facing robbery and murder on the way. And there are estimates that many thousands more of the migrants die or are killed on their way to the Mediterranean, let alone the perilous journey that they've got to make afterwards. And it doesn't end there. You've got a reported 10 deaths in Calais alone in the past couple of months trying to get to the UK. So the body count of migrants, it must be astonishing. It's probably in its tens of thousands. And it does go to show that these people are some of the most desperate people on our planet, who are prepared to risk everything to get out of their difficult situations in their home countries. It's quite astonishing, and I think that level of deprivation, that level of desperation, is something that we in our countries, in Europe especially, just can't comprehend anymore. It's beyond our comprehension that people would wish to take such desperate risks in order to flee the countries that they were born in. And it's not just the loss of life. I mean, just today, the United Nations Commission on Refugees has published a report which condemns utterly the barbaric conditions that refugees are forced to endure when they reach land in Greece, when they make their journey and get to Calais, and some of these conditions, these homemade shanty towns or sleeping rough. I mean, for goodness sake, we're in Europe, one of the most richest continents in the world, yet we're condemning many of the migrants to live in rough on our streets, to living in shanty towns. And the United Nations have been very, very condemnatory, and they're demanding that European countries now start cooperating together a lot more in order to deal with some of these atrocious situations which the migrants are forced to be in. But what's our response? You've got an unfolding humanitarian crisis on our doorstep. And what's our response? You get the guy who walked through the Channel Tunnel being denounced in the media as a criminal who should be jailed. You're getting, last Saturday, when I went on a demonstration in support of the migrants at Folkestone Channel Tunnel Terminal, you got the English Defence League and Britain First trying to attack us. Physically charging at our demonstration because we were standing up for the rights of migrants. All this week on Radio Kent, where migration, of course, is a big issue because of Operation Stack. There's been call-in shows on Radio Kent, and I am utterly depressed. I really am fucking well fed up by the nasty, hateful comments that people are making when they're ringing Radio Kent which has been running talk shows on the migration situation all week, it really does make me feel depressed and angry at the same time that this crisis is unfolding, yet people just see the migrants as subhuman. And I guess a lot of that is probably to do with the government response. You've got David Cameron and the Tory government, and the only response that they can give is to spend £7 million on top of the millions they're already spending on building up more fences, on putting infrared cameras, sending more security guards at Calais, and then on top of that they're trying to deny benefit and housing entitlement to unsuccessful applicants for asylum, even though 4 out of 10 of asylum seekers win their appeals. It beggars belief that the heartlessness, what's going on, and of course people just ignore the United Nations. The government's ignoring the United Nations. It's not going to do anything about the reports that have been presented. Well, I say for one that the money that's been spent on Calais should be spent upon building decent reception facilities for the migrants when they reach Calais, decent places to stay, and staff to actually process their applications on the spot rather than making them live in modern day shanty towns. And equally Greece, we've got Greece where the national wealth is being expropriated in order to pay back loans to the EU in a most anti-democratic way. How is poor old Greece going to afford, I think somewhere in the region of about 50 or 60,000 migrants passing through Greece? Well, I say the people who are taking the debt repayments back off Greece should actually forgive that debt and allow the Greek government to build some decent facilities for the migrants coming out of the Mediterranean and coming ashore in their country. This really is an utterly shameful reaction to what's going on, and I'm utterly distraught about the way that no one really wants to raise the humanitarian aspects of what's going on our doorstep in our country, and even the Labour Party leadership candidates, with the honourable exception of Jeremy Corbyn, of course. The leadership candidates for the Labour Party have said nothing about migration, and for fuck's sake, they're supposed to be the opposition. It just makes you wonder what's going on in this country. It makes you wonder where our values lie. And one last point. As much as I loved her, and as much as I used to watch shows in my younger days, especially Blind Date, the death of Cilla Black, even though it was a very, very sad thing for a relatively young woman to pass away, the media has been absolutely dominated by Cilla Black. Politicians have been queuing up to say how sorry they are, but I've not heard a single politician stand up and say that they're desperately sorry for the 10 deaths in Calais. It just shows you that our priorities are so fucking well wrong when we've got such a desperate situation, and nobody in power and influence wants to stand up, go to the plate and actually say, look guys, we should be doing something about this tragedy. I really am pissed off.